In the galactic reaches where stars cluster like scattered embers, a single empire reigned supreme for 10,000 years. It was a rule forged in unbreakable order, not just of sheer force, but an intricate machine of dominance, each gear and circuit of their power perfected over millennia. Systems upon systems, entire races across countless star clusters, submitted to the Empire's relentless protocols. Their technology surpassed imagination. Entire fleets ran like synchronized dancers, sleek and intimidating, armed with energy weapons that could crack moons and shields that shimmered in flawless unison. To challenge them was unthinkable. The galaxy had long resigned to the Empire's shadow. Its control was woven into every corner of civilization, so intrinsic that even whispers of rebellion were barely possible. In its stability lay a cold dread, a certainty that nothing could upset the Empire's hold, until, quietly and unexpectedly, humanity arrived. To the Empire, humans were barely a blip. They were newcomers, appearing late to the cosmic stage and seemingly inferior in both number and technology. At first, human encounters with the Empire were brief, uneventful, and rather unimpressive. Their ships were small, their technologies primitive by Empire standards, and their presence seemed unremarkable. Yet there was something different about them. In the face of unfamiliar stars and vast unknowns, humans adapted swiftly. While they lacked the Empire's might, they compensated with ingenuity. What they couldn't build, they modified. What they couldn't modify, they reimagined. Humanity's ability to work with scraps, turn weaknesses into strengths, and innovate rapidly began to draw quiet intrigue across the galaxy. As other species noticed their knack for turning the impossible into reality, whispers began to spread. Perhaps these newcomers weren't as powerless as they seemed. Then came humanity's answer to the Empire's power, the Supercarrier. This was not just another human vessel. It was a beast of unprecedented design, a declaration wrapped in alloy and innovation. As large as an Empire dreadnought but constructed with a distinct philosophy, the Supercarrier was a testament to humanity's commitment to survival and strength. Unlike the Empire's sleek, pristine warships, the Supercarrier was rugged, dense with layers of reinforced armor, adaptive shields, and unorthodox weaponry that no one had ever seen. Railguns, missile bays, and kinetic artillery jutted from its hull in defiant contrast to the Empire's energy-based arsenals. It was an embodiment of raw, untamed power. The Supercarrier wasn't built as a tool of conquest. It was born out of necessity, a response to constant threats from hostile alien forces that preyed on humanity's scattered outposts and colonies. Humanity didn't want to dominate. They wanted to survive, to live freely without the looming specter of the Empire or marauding alien factions. This Supercarrier became their answer, an ironclad guardian capable of facing down nearly any threat. Yet, as humanity's ambition and alliances grew, so did the Empire's discomfort. For the first time, an Empire-controlled sector would see the arrival of this mysterious new vessel, the Supercarrier, as it charted its course toward the Empire's central fleet. Its mission was no longer a secret. This wasn't a ship sent to avoid confrontation. It was a challenge, a line drawn in the endless stars. The Supercarrier emerged from the black void, confronting the Empire's fleet stationed in the sector. A hum of uneasy surprise rippled through the Empire's command channels. No one had expected a human craft of this size and capacity to appear here, in their territory, without so much as a warning. The Empire's flagship, a vessel that had seen centuries of easy victories, moved forward with a practiced confidence, ready to obliterate this intruder with its customary precision. Their fleet initiated a sequence of traditional attack patterns, strategies honed over millennia and almost always lethal to any vessel in their path. They expected an easy victory. But humanity had come prepared. The Supercarrier didn't respond as expected. Instead of mimicking the Empire's structured patterns, it split its assault across multiple points, creating diversions, luring small groups of enemy ships into ambushes, and using chaotic, unpredictable movements that confounded the Empire's rigid formations. The Empire's captains, trained to respond to conventional warfare, struggled to keep up. Communications erupted with reports of unexpected maneuvers, incoming missiles from seemingly impossible angles, and tactical feints that left Empire's ships vulnerable and isolated. As the battle raged, the Empire's fleet faced the full might of the supercarrier's capabilities. The vessel's shields flickered with energy, layers of adaptive armor absorbing blasts that would have devastated other ships. Its railguns, operating at a terrifying velocity, punched through the Empire's defenses with alarming ease. EMP pulses targeted enemy electronics, scrambling the Empire's communications and disorienting their flagship's command systems. Clustered missile arrays were launched in rapid succession, each with its own target, creating a hailstorm of firepower that forced the Empire's ships into evasive patterns. Every weapon the supercarrier wielded seemed designed to destabilize the Empire's traditional tactics. Where other species would falter, the human ship charged forward, unyielding and unbroken. The Empire's fleet was thrown into chaos, struggling to comprehend the human ship's tactics and firepower. This was no simple skirmish, but a battle unlike any they had encountered. Their flagship, long the pride of the Empire's forces, was now the primary target, finding itself outmaneuvered and outgunned. Human resilience shone through as the crew of the supercarrier pressed their advantage, refusing to retreat. Pilots, gunners, and engineers worked in seamless harmony, embodying the sheer tenacity that had come to define humanity's reputation. Every strike was precise, every maneuver calculated to draw the Empire's forces deeper into a web of destruction. Despite the relentless assault, the Empire's fleet was formidable, returning fire with brutal intensity. The supercarrier's hull groaned under the stress of repeated impacts, its shields flashing and fading before flickering back to life. Yet the human crew held firm, compensating for each system strain with quick repairs, their engineers adapting on the fly. As the clash escalated, the Empire's flagship found itself vulnerable, shields flickering erratically under the continuous bombardment from the supercarrier's railguns and missiles. Finally, after a fierce back-and-forth, the critical moment arrived. A massive explosion rocked the Empire's flagship, a direct hit to its engine core delivered by a precision strike from the supercarrier. The once imposing symbol of imperial power, now crippled and defenseless, drifted into the void. This was more than a military victory, it was a shattering blow to the Empire's image. For the first time in 10,000 years, a force had toppled their might. In the wake of the supercarrier's triumph, the Empire's forces reeled in disbelief. Their once coordinated fleet, now fragmented, struggled to regroup, while survivors stumbled back into Imperial territory, shaken by a single human vessel's power. Stories spread like wildfire across their networks, rumors of a lesser species that had torn through their strongest defenses and decimated their flagship. For an empire built on unwavering authority, this defeat wasn't just a loss, it was a paradigm shift. Suddenly, the unassailable grip they'd held for 10 millennia seemed vulnerable, and the news reached the Empire's highest echelons with chilling clarity. The Emperor, surrounded by counsel who only whispered fears of what humanity had proven possible, could no longer dismiss humanity as inconsequential. A new threat had arisen, one that wasn't bound by the Empire's ancient rules. Across the galaxy, oppressed species tuned into the murmur of rebellion. For thousands of years, they had been forced to live under the Empire's iron rule, yet here was humanity, a species that hadn't even existed on the galactic stage a few decades prior, achieving the impossible. The supercarrier's victory resonated like a spark in a dry forest, igniting thoughts of freedom, autonomy, and a life without Empire mandates. Quiet alliances began to form in the shadows, with envoys reaching out to human diplomats in hushed, encrypted transmissions. These pacts were cautious, born not out of a shared ideology but out of necessity and hope. The galaxy's downtrodden populations viewed humanity not just as a potential ally but as a new symbol of resistance. And humanity, always adaptive, cautiously opened diplomatic channels, realizing that their place in the galaxy could expand if they approached these emerging alliances with respect and foresight. The supercarrier became more than a ship, it became a legend. Across planets, holograms, and data streams, stories of its heroism and audacity transformed into songs, symbols, and art. Children played games imitating the battle, imagining themselves as human pilots facing down the Empire's might. Among the oppressed, Tales of the Supercarrier's battle spread like myth, the story of an indomitable spirit that refused to bow even to the galaxy's oldest empire. Artists captured it in sculpture, paint, and digital renders, embedding the Supercarrier's image into the cultural fabric of worlds that had never even encountered a human before. Humanity's reputation as innovators, fighters, and survivors gained a new dimension. They were now a force for change. Yet humanity's newfound status came with uncertainty. They knew the Empire wouldn't let such a defeat go unanswered. The Supercarrier's victory had irrevocably shifted the galactic landscape, but it also made humanity a target. While alliances with other species offered new opportunities, they also carried risks and required trust, a commodity rare in a galaxy scarred by Empire rule. But despite the precarious balance, humanity felt something they hadn't before: belonging. They were no longer mere explorers at the edges of the known universe. They had carved out a place, unshakable and undeniable. As the Supercarrier drifted back toward human-controlled space, battered but unbroken, its journey signified more than a single victory. It marked the dawn of a new era, one in which humanity would face challenges as never before, but also one in which they would no longer face them alone. The Empire had been weakened, its myth of invincibility shattered. And humanity, ready to face what came next, had already begun their story as a galactic power, a force that would rise to meet the unknown with courage and strength.